Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Well, one thing I can mention is I did have commencement. I actually graduated from college and did my commencement kind of thing. But one of the things that I didn't learn very well in college is economics. And when you talk economics, you start talking about dollars and money and things like that. And I'm sorry to say that as I researched this topic, I found more and more information that really made enough for several speeches. So I'm not going to be able to cover all the material today, but at least I want to set I want to set the stage for the whole problem. Now, a lot's been happening with the American dollar. First of all, over the last several years, we've printed something like $7 trillion dollars worth of dollar bills or various size bills, making a total of 7 trillion in value, which hasn't done a lot for the value of the dollar in your bank account. Now, another thing that has now seems to be happening, there is an executive order 14024 that the president has signed that involves changing our currency into a central bank digital currency. And basically, this means that the government actually could have access to every dollar you think you own, wherever it may be. And how did we ever get into a situation like this? Well, the dollar has been the world's reserve currency for the last 80 years. International agreements 80 years ago, we all agreed, all the nations agreed that people would pay each other in dollars, American dollars, and that would make it easier for everybody in the case of how they paid for their goods and services. Well, that worked well for a while, but recently there's been some problems with that. One of the problems, for example, is with the war in Ukraine, the United States froze the assets of Russia. Now, guess what? Guess what currency all the Russian money in the Russian banks is? It's the American currency. So what we did is we froze their ability to spend and do anything with the dollar. And because they use the American currency, then this is a disadvantage to them. The Chinese have been concerned that why do we not have the world's reserve currency? We can do that. And they've been taking steps throughout the last few years to prove that to us. And I understand that on September 6th, there'll be some sort of an announcement from the Chinese government as to how they now can back up the yuan, the Chinese yuan, with plenty of gold. The Chinese have been hoarding gold for years and accumulating wealth. And they're close to a position of being able to announce that, hey, we can be the world's reserve currency. Have you ever heard of an organization called BRICS? BRICS actually has several letters that stand for something. In this particular case, it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and the S is supposed to stand for Saudi Arabia, although Saudi Arabia, as I understand it, is not yet on board with using another currency other than dollars as the reserve currency. But there have been other countries that have already joined this group, like Argentina, Iraq, and basically the Chinese have been working their magic throughout the world to convince the other countries that they would be better off not using the American dollar to buy and sell their goods throughout the world. Now, this is fine, and this is what's happened, of course, with Russia. They didn't have access to their money because the money was in dollars and the dollars were frozen. All right, well, with that background, what does this really mean for our system? Well, for starters, it means that the government literally owns every dollar that any of us have in a bank account because it's in a digital currency now, which means that they can take it from us or give it back to us at will. And this is what's kind of scary. And this is what, when I say be really concerned, this is what I'm concerned about, the possibility happening, that the government of the United States, all they have to do is to declare a national emergency capability, which was set up after 9/11. And if they declare this national emergency, then they would have the authority to confiscate people's money. And you say, oh, that couldn't happen here. Well, think again, just in the last, since the year 2000, there are 17 million examples of government confiscation of assets across 45 different states. So yes, it has happened, and it could happen again. Well, what would that mean? Well, it means you might go to your bank account one morning and online, and there's a message there to you that, sorry, your account has been closed. Please contact the bank. And then you contact the bank and you say, sorry, we can't tell you why, but we've been directed to close your account. And so all that money that you were going to use to pay bills that day, it wasn't there. The government had taken it. Now, so extending that further, you can look at the government dealing with looking at the bills that you pay and what kind of money are you giving to whom, and how about deposits and withdrawals? Where are you getting your money from? Where are you putting it? And if they don't like what you're doing with your money, then in theory they could have the ability to take it. Now, I'm not an expert in this area, but I know enough about this whole issue now that I'm seeing more and more things on the internet every day about this whole problem, and I'm trying to learn more about it. So I think there's another speech in this down the road a little bit. Anyway, so my bottom line is, be really concerned that your money may not be as safe as you think it is in your retirement accounts or wherever you may be keeping your resources. And I hope the worst doesn't happen, but who knows what our government is capable of doing, Mr. Toastmaster.